What's up guys, Lon here from Android Authority, and if you just recently picked up a Galaxy S7 or S7 Edge, you may be wondering what are some cool and useful things you can do with this phone. Well, that's what we're going to go over today with some tips and tricks for your S7 and S7 Edge. So diving right into tip number one, and that is how to disable Flipboard. I know some people may love the Flipboard briefing home screen, but if you're like me and you can't bear the sight of it, it can be easily turned off. Just long press on the home screen, swipe over to the briefing home screen, and from here you'll have a toggle to turn it off. That's all there is to it, and if you ever want to turn it back on, just repeat these steps. Tip number two is how to change the screen grid size. By default, the screen grid is set to 4x4, which to me is a little bit cramped and doesn't allow you to fully take advantage of the screen real estate. Again, changing this one is really easy too. Just long press on the home screen, and from the four options on the bottom, you'll want to select screen grid. From here you can pick between 4x4, 4x5, and 5x5. Once you're happy with your choice, just hit apply, and now you should be able to fit a lot more apps and widgets onto your home screens. Coming in at number 3 is the Camera Quick Launch, and this was actually introduced on last year's S6, but it's one of my favorite features that Samsung has ever come up with, and it's extremely useful. Anytime you want to get into the camera quickly, all you have to do is double tap the home button and the camera will fire up. This works no matter where you are within the phone and also when the phone is locked, and with this feature enabled, you don't even need a camera shortcut on your home screen. This feature should already be enabled by default, but if it is not, just head into settings, go into advanced features, and make sure the quick launch camera option is toggled on. Next up at number 4 is one-handed operation. This allows you to shrink down the interface for easier one-handed use simply by triple tapping the home button. This feature may not be super useful on the smaller S7, but on the S7 Edge, it could definitely come in handy from time to time. To enable this, go to settings and then select advanced features. From here, go into one-handed operation and you'll see a toggle to reduce the screen size. There's also a toggle for one-handed input as well, which will shift certain apps like the phone dialer or calculator to one side of the phone, so you can choose to enable that if you want. Once enabled, just triple tap the home button anytime you want to shrink the screen down, and you'll also have the option to move it to the left or right side or return back to full screen. Our next tip is how to reorder the Edge panels, and this one is specifically for the S7 Edge. So with the new Edge UX, Samsung allows for up to 9 panels to be used at one time, and that could be a lot to swipe through just to find the piece of information that you're looking for. If there's something that you like to check frequently, like the weather for example, you can put those panels at the forefront to make them quicker to get to. To reorder the panels, just swipe open the Edge interface, tap the settings icon, and select the reorder button in the upper right. From here, reordering the panels is as simple as dragging and dropping. Once you're completely satisfied with your changes, just back out of it, and now your Edge panels should be in the exact order that you want. Next up is how to move multiple applications to another home screen. One of the most annoying things about Android when it comes to organizing and moving apps around the home screens is that you can only move one item at a time, but Samsung's come up with a pretty elegant solution for this. Just long press and hold on an application like you normally would when moving an app, and up top you will see a Move Apps option appear. Once you've dragged an app to it, it'll give you the option to select up to 5 applications to move. After you've selected the applications that you want to move, just swipe to any home screen that you want and simply drag them back down from the top to place them. Tip number 7 is how to make TouchWiz look more like stock Android. The new TouchWiz on the S7 and S7 Edge actually isn't that bad looking, but if you're still not a fan and want a more stock-like feel, you can easily do that through the theme store. My favorite theme as of late has been the Android 6.0 theme, but there's a ton of other ones. The easiest way to find them is to search up a term like material, and you'll find a bunch that will give you that stock Android look and feel, and the best thing about it is a good majority of them are completely free. One of the newest features to the S7 and S7 Edge is the always on display, and even though it's lacking a lot of functionality right now, Samsung does offer a few ways for you to customize it. You'll find the settings for this under settings, display, and then always on display. With always on display, you can display a clock, a calendar, or an image. So for example, if you want to customize a clock, you have the option to pick from several different analog and digital clock styles. If you want to spice things up even more, you can add a background image to the clock. You can't use any random image of your choice, and there's only a few to pick from, but the ones that are available are actually pretty nice looking, and hopefully this will expand in the future. A feature that I've always found to be really annoying is the pop-up view feature. If you're not familiar, this lets you shrink the app into a floating window that you can manipulate and move around by swiping inwards from the top left or right corners, but oftentimes you may find yourself just trying to pull down the notification shade and end up activating the pop-up view instead. The good news is with the S7 and S7 Edge, Samsung has finally given us an option to turn it off. Again, you'll find this one under Advanced Features in the settings. Just tap on pop-up view gesture, toggle it off, and you'll never have to deal with it again. Our last and final feature is how to keep the screen from turning itself on when you don't want it to. Because the S7 and S7 Edge have a physical home button, it can be prone to accidental presses from something like bumping into a table or getting tossed around in a bag, which can ultimately waste a lot of battery life if the screen is constantly getting woken up when you're not actually using the phone. To enable this feature, go into Settings, and under the Display section, you'll find an option for keeping the screen turned off. Once you've enabled this feature, your phone will never accidentally turn itself on in a pocket, bag, or any other dark environment. And that pretty much wraps it up for tips and tricks for your Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and also subscribe to the channel, which is also down below if you haven't already. And check us out on social media as well, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. And as always, check out the website AndroidAuthority.com because we are your source for all things Android.